between last year and this year, that was going to be the biggest question. All right, you beat the Bengals last year. You dominated the Bengals in a preseason game. Well, then how is that any different this year? Why should we get overhyped? Well, everything just felt way more structured tonight. And I think that's the biggest difference is the belief in this coaching staff that you're feeling. You heard Ryan Poles talking about it at the end. But, last year against the Bengals, and we'll get into the offense and everything, some broken play magic created by Caleb Williams, caused us all to kind of lose our mind, especially myself in that moment. Tonight, they just methodically, worked their way down the field and executed, and everything just looked clean and organized and how it's supposed to look, and it's like, okay, man, do this. And we were just joking, like, okay, it's preseason, sure. But it's like, man, please let this be how it looks in the regular season. Bears fans deserve it.
Yes. That's the hope. And I think there are signs. Well, here, let's do this. Hey, Adam, it's time for your instant reaction. Welcome in.
I gotta be honest with you. I need to go on a little rant here for a second. I can't wait. Let's go.
Sometimes you got to tee up yourself.
That's right.
If we're just being honest. So, and my tee shots yesterday were better than Greg's, so I might as well just keep.
They were way better yesterday.
Keep teeing it up. Hey, look, that's kind of my big takeaway from this game is because I'm still going to have the it's preseason sort of caveat to all this, and it was against the Bills' backups. Sure, let's lay all that out on the table. But what I loved about what I saw tonight was Ben Johnson's offense. Like, it was the play designs were like, whoa. That's now we're in this century of NFL football. And they were even what was just called for Caleb, and I'm not taking anything away from Caleb, don't get me wrong, because he was executing the playbook. He was executing what was being called, and most importantly, it just looked clean. So I'm talking they're getting in the line with plenty of time for Caleb to look at the defense. He seemed calm, cool, collected. They were snapping the ball on time. There were no cadence issues. In fact, he drew the Bills off sides with the cadence at one point on the second drive. And it's just nice and easy. He hits Colson Loveland in the flat. He hits Cole Kmet up the seam with a really nice throw. Little 5-yard curl to DJ Moore. Then hits Colson Loveland on the over. Then he finally gets put in a situation where he's under a little bit of pressure, has to run, and he still almost gets it to Olamide Zaccheaus. Maybe could have gotten that a little bit higher, but it wasn't the cleanest of all plays, and he's under pressure. And then he hits OZ for the touchdown on the very next throw, and all of a sudden it's 7-0. We just didn't see that from the Bears last season, really, at any point. It looked that easy. And also, we never saw them get off to leads like that and execute on the first drive like that. So even the second drive for Caleb Williams, okay, it was a little bit late on the check down. That was probably, if I had to guess, of the 10 dropbacks in this game, the one that they're going to pick at him the most at in the film session will be the one where it seemed like he might have had Colson underneath, and instead he got to his check down over to the left, Hankins late, and it fell incomplete. The next play was just a busted out screen. Wasn't his fault. He correctly dirts it.
Arguably his best play.
Yeah, I mean, it was good.
Just dirt it.
It certainly wasn't his fault, unless there's some scenario where he was supposed to check out of that play, for all we know. But then, look, the throw to Rome Odunze, you could say, wasn't 100% accurate, but even Greg Olsen on the broadcast was like, that ball's out, it's on time, it's accurate enough, ball's got to be caught, and Rome has caught pretty much everything in training camp, so honestly I was stunned that he didn't catch that one. So you come out of all that, 6 of 10, I think we have Caleb's number, 6 of 10, over 100 yards passing, and he had 97, I think, on the first drive of the game. That's another part of it. So 107 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, 2 of 3 on third down. Rome catches that one pass. It's 3 of 3. Okay. And he gets no help along the way. I shouldn't say no help, but he gets backed up on the opening kickoff because Tyler Scott, I don't know, he must have hit it because then he brings it out. So they start from the 8. And then there's a holding penalty on Drew Dahlman in there too. So stuff like that in the past, they've been drive killers immediately. Like the opening kickoff would have been just a killer right there. Backed up at the 8. You know what's going to happen next. Bears are punting. And now they don't have the field position the whole first half.
The holding penalty, too.
There was one point in this game, Greg, where they put up a graphic on the screen. And I get it's a preseason game. But it said Bears plays 42, Bills plays 15. That's usually the Bears on the other side of that every time we see that graphic.
400 total yards of offense in the first half. They scored on their first drive. They scored a touchdown on their first drive. They haven't had a touchdown on their first drive all of last year.
Right. So, again, I get they're playing the Bills' backups. But the Bills are a good team. Obviously, the Bears are not, if this is week 1, the Bears are not winning 38-0. They're probably not even winning. I get all that. But I guarantee you they'd be in the fight. I guarantee you they put up some decent offense based on what I saw tonight from the play design, the execution, from the quarterback. And it's not just tonight. That's my last point. And then we'll get to some of our best and worst of the night. But this was a good week for Caleb overall. It wasn't a perfect week. Just like tonight's game wasn't perfect. But it was a good week. It was a good step in the right direction. I had some conversations on the off day on Tuesday that concerned me. Like, I'm just being honest with you. And I was like, he's just clearly not where they want him to be. The offensive line, we could talk to the assistants on Wednesday morning when we got there. Some of that's still concerning, at least with the left tackle. But Caleb backed it up from my numbers. All 3 practices, his adjusted completion percentage, which takes out drops and all that stuff, to kind of make it a little bit more fair, was over 80% all 3 of those days. And then he gets the off day yesterday, he comes up and shows it in the game today too. So all in all, this was a very good week, a good step in the right direction for Caleb Williams and this offense as a whole. You got to feel really good about it if you're Ben Johnson, who, by the way, probably won't because he's Ben Johnson and he wants perfection.
Yeah,
and he
looked like
excellence.
he wanted to kill someone when they were up 28-0 leading into the half.
So anyway, that was a little bit of a long instant reaction, but I feel like there was a lot to get through. And
yeah, that's the thing, and I know a lot of people watch this like, no, it is the preseason. We understand that, but if they had not played well, if they did not come out and cleanly execute tonight against the Bills' backups, they would have been crucified by fans in the city, media in the city, and national media, certainly would have taken their rounds. This was on the national stage. You got Greg Olsen on the call, does a tremendous job. And they went out there and did their job. They did what they were supposed to do against the Bills' backups. So we don't have to oversell it and throw a ticker tape parade, but it should be applauded. It should be commended how they played tonight, the progress they are showing. And I think for anybody that's been able to go to training camp or if you've been following our show and the reporting we've been doing, the other refreshing part of this whole aspect was things we've seen at training camp translated here tonight. Colston Loveland right away getting in on the action. He's somebody that flashes every single day in wide open spaces getting the ball. You're like, oh, he's wide open. Well, he was wide open again tonight. So I don't know. It's preseason. It's training camp. We got to see it in the regular season, but we're seeing it here consistently here in the last 2 weeks. Cole Kmet up the seam. That was a dime ball by Caleb Williams. That was a throw that had conviction behind it. Olamide Zaccheaus has been arguably the training camp MVP for this team. Showed up once again. He finished the joint practice against the Bills doing exactly how he finished that drive with the touchdown. It was almost the exact same play. And so it's just consistently. Then you get to the second team. Luther Burden and Tyson Bagent have been hooking up for 2 weeks now. Consistently. You see it every time. Luther Burden creating separation, making plays. You see a little shake to get a little more yards after the catch up the sidelines. These are things you are seeing every single day out in practice. And so to see it tonight at Soldier Field on the primetime stage is a step in the right direction as we're 22 days, almost 21 days away from week 1 Monday Night Football against the Minnesota Vikings. And that's encouraging.
All right, let's get into our best and worst from the game. We still kind of treat this like it's a preseason practice, which it in the end it really is. My best, I'm gonna echo what Greg Olson was saying and was still bringing up in the fourth quarter to Ryan Poles when Poles joined the broadcast. Luther Burden. This is a significant story that I just feel like and it also has to do with the coaching staff, because Poles even mentioned it during that interview he did. Like, what we're seeing from Luther Burden right now, this buy-in, wasn't really what we were seeing early on in camp. We weren't even seeing him. We didn't see him in the offseason program. He is showing up now, and not only is he making plays, getting open, catching the ball, the blocking, the all-in willingness to block. I think he had key blocks on 2 touchdown runs in this game. And one of them was really impressive, where he pushed the guy back like a legitimate 3 yards. It's encouraging, in that obviously he's an insanely talented player who, if the coaching staff is able to maximize his talent, could be a huge addition to this team. Just, that's the obvious part. But also, if they really got through to him this quickly and this sticks, I mean, shout out to Antoine Randall. Shout out to Ben Johnson. That is a good sign going forward for what the coaching. How many times have we had conversations about how they can't develop talent in this town, or they can't keep the talent together, disciplined enough to maximize that talent? Who am I thinking of? The wide receiver from a few years ago, Anthony Miller, right? Like a perfect example. Who second-round pick, also a second-round pick, tons of talent. We get open, blah, blah, couldn't maximize the talent. Now, I get it's early. It's not even the regular season, but this is a really good sign early on. So that was my best. And if that continues, man, the Bears might have gotten a hit there with their second-round pick. My worst, I don't know if Braggs is just rubbing off on me. I was extremely annoyed by them using the broadcast to campaign for the stadium. And if they were going to do that, did it have to be early in the second quarter where there's still important players in there? There's a left tackle competition going on. There's Luther Burden, who may or may not should have caught the ball. You don't even get a replay because they're showing shots of empty Arlington Park. I drove by it yesterday again. There's just grass growing in this area that used to be beautiful that I used to go to. Like, talk about not reading a room, man. There's this dude next to me has been stadium fatigued for like 2 years. I'm actually interested in it. Can we let the football game be the football game, though?
As the Bills do a Dominique Wilkins tomahawk slam with actual pictures of an actual stadium being built in the second half.
I mean, Kevin Warren, dude. I like Kevin Warren. I think he's eventually going to build the world-class stadium that he keeps talking about. But what's actually interesting preseason content? The team he used to work for, the Minnesota Vikings, had the head coach mic'd up for the whole third quarter yesterday. He's calling plays and coaching up players on the that's it. Can we let the football be the football for just a few hours? I'm probably overreacting to it, and it's probably also because I've heard the same campaign now from him, including last week when I was standing right next to him and he did the press conference. But it's just like, can we at least have polls go in the second quarter and the stadium thing in the fourth if you have to get it in there? Or wait for a bigger audience on Monday Night Football in week 1 if it's really that important.
No, do not.
I just...
if we had to get through it tonight so it's not talked about on Monday Night Football, I'll take it.
I was annoyed.
No, yeah, that concludes our stadium conversation for the night, although it was funny that
That was my worst. In
Yeah,
the game, the
that's
Bears won 38-0.
Yeah, well,
that was my worst.
Yeah, it's hard to find a worst when the Bears played as well as they did tonight. My best is I was so impressed with the way the Bears handled the blitz tonight. Obviously, all eyes are on Caleb Williams in this first-team offense, but I just think overall you saw the Bills dialing up the blitz more than a few times, and Caleb Williams was able to stand in the pocket, deliver the football on time, in stride, before wide receivers are even out of their break. You saw on a particular play where Braxton Jones, as we're still monitoring this left tackle situation, well, I think overall probably had a solid day, but in one particular rep where Caleb Williams does a great job beating the blitz, he gets the ball out of his hands, boom, dart to the left side to DJ Moore. Braxton got beat on the inside like he did last week, but it didn't phase Caleb Williams. There was no happy feet. And to me, that's just such a big step in the right direction. The last couple weeks of joint practices, when the Bills or Dolphins showed blitz at the line of scrimmage, it made them think twice about things going on. There were 4 false starts by the first-team offense on Friday afternoon's practice at Hallis Hall against the Bills. No false starts by the first-team offense today. No delay of games. The pressure, they didn't let it get to them. They didn't blink. And I just thought Caleb Williams did an excellent job of handling the blitz, but I also thought the offensive line and the running backs did a great job of picking up the blitz. If you go back and watch the way the running back was getting in there and putting his head down and filling the hole, there was more than a couple times that I thought gave Caleb Williams that extra second to make a play. And so that's going to be big going into the regular season. If they can continue that, obviously defenses are going to get much more complex. The looks they give them, we all understand this. But just from the standpoint of, hey, we're blitzing, Dennis Allen certainly wasn't afraid to blitz tonight either. But
he wanted that shutout bad.
He got the shutout. Shout out to Dennis Allen. But for the Bears, when the blitz came at them, they didn't panic, and they still continued to execute and matriculate the ball down the field. And so I would say that's my best. My worst is also on the broadcast because I was excited for this virtual measurement coming into the league. It's been a long time coming. But can we speed up this process, ladies and gentlemen? Why are we going to commercial for virtual measurements? The virtual measurement should mean that this gets expedited a lot faster. And tonight it was not. I have no idea what was going on with the virtual measurements. All I know is that's a work in progress because it should not be taking as long as it does. On clear first downs, we're going to take a virtual measurement. We're going to go to commercial, and we'll be right back. No, we're not going to go to commercial. We're going to virtually measure this quickly and get to the next play. So that was my worst. Whatever we're trying to do with the virtual measurement, this technology's been around for a long time for tennis. Football, welcome. It's a welcomed edition, but it needs to be a faster edition because that was ridiculous.
Yeah, totally agree. The whole point of the virtual measurement is to do the opposite of what they were doing tonight, which is supposed to be like, oh, this is faster than the chain gang. We don't need to go to break, certainly. They were having some confusion, though, between the officiating. Were they measuring? Because the virtual measurement is just to measure where the ball is. It's not challenging the spot.
Right.
So you have to separately challenge the spot. And I think they had some confusion about whether or not it was automatically getting challenged, which it shouldn't. That's only for expedited review is when it's clear and obvious, which that one wasn't. So I think they kind of started to review it, and that's when they went to break, and then they realized they couldn't actually do that, so then they came back from break. Because here's the thing about the NFL, once the broadcast crew, once they go to break, there's literally a guy who stands out there with bright orange gloves who will not let the game start until they're back from break. So once they go to that break, it's too late. So they were having some miscommunication there, but your overall point is correct. When we get to the regular season, that better work way better than it has. Because that's not I was watching some game the other night, I forget which one it was, and the exact same thing happened. Yeah. And they were confused. So we got to fix that. Fix it now. All right, before we hit a break, Big Money Super. Craig Leach. And we got a few big money, so we'll hit a couple on the other end too. Craig Leach here, though, $100. You super chat $100, you're getting in the A block. What's up, Craig? $100. Holy crap, an actual playbook, scheme, and effort. I know it's preseason, but it's heartwarming to see the drive and determination in all aspects.
See, and I don't even really think we got deep into a playbook.
Well, Greg, when someone spends $100, you will let the Bears be said.
Oh, the Bears.
Yes.
Sorry.
You don't clip them off at $98. You give him was $100.
The Bears.
Okay, go ahead.
But I don't like. They first play, they roll out to the flat. It's a very simple play. All right, they hit the seam. Okay, they hit OZ in stride. Like, I don't think any of it was reinventing the wheel tonight from a playbook standpoint. I just think the execution, the cleanliness of it, and also the physicality. If they're still trying to find an identity of how they're going to play offense from, outside zone to gap scheme running or shotgun or under center or put it all together, I think it's clear from what we've seen at training camp with some of these practices and the intensity of them and what we saw here tonight is the physicality is going to be their identity. And, the Luther Burden point you made in your best, I think, just hammers that home. Ryan Pohl said it at the end of the game when he was on the broadcast, like, that's not how it started, but this is the culture that Ben Johnson's implementing.
No block, no rock.
You got that right. No block, no rock. Love it.
Quick timeout. We'll come back. We want to hear your thoughts on Caleb Williams. I know we solicited some comments on Twitter. We'll also get to some more of the big money super chats. Adam Jahns will join us before we get out of here with the reaction from Soldier Field. We're hoping to get you Ben Johnson, too. I understand there's some audio issues, so I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do that tonight, but we'll certainly relay anything we can or get from Ben and Caleb Williams before this show is over. Don't go anywhere. But first,
Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, and purchase a wide array of high-quality products. It's a one-stop shop for all your cannabis needs. Sunnyside is here to elevate your summer. It's an expertly curated menu with over 100 different strains to choose from, plus easy online ordering and in-store pickup. Sunnyside has Illinois' favorite dispensaries, all locations all over the city, from Wrigleyville right down the street from the Marquee to the suburbs in Champaign. So if you're starting out, Sunnyside has expert guidance and brands we know you'll love. So visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter the promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary, bright buys every day, only for 21 or older or Illinois medical card holders. For existing users, use the promo code CHGO50 for 50% off one Cresco Labs brand item.
And our guy Ray Scarpelli is slashing those prices on new cars at Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake, giving you big savings all month long. Come in today to shop the new car clearance event. Check out their selection of over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. And with one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories, you're sure to find the perfect vehicle for you. You know you're going to get a great deal because they're able to keep their prices competitive. Plus, Ray's Price Promise lets you shop confidently because the price that you see is the price that you pay. Visit our partner at their convenient location right off of Route 12 in Fox Lake. Don't miss out on their new car clearance event going on all month long. Shop Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or at raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive. Again, that's shop Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or at raychevrolet.com. Over 4,000 people watching here late on a Sunday evening. We appreciate you. Please hit that like button and hit subscribe so we can keep building that audience even more. We are here throughout the week, every week. As you could probably tell from my voice already being strained before we get to the end of August. But that's what we do here. We talk about the Bears so much that we're not going to last past age 45. And speaking of which, when this show's over tonight, we're going to nap and come back tomorrow. We'll have an episode of Hoge and Jahns in the morning, and Braggs and I will be here at noon to give more thoughts on what happened tonight as the Bears just absolutely demolished the Bills, a good Bills team, 38-0 in the preseason. don't usually care about preseason scores, but, they were playing for the shutout late in that game, and they got it. Before we keep going, though, I know we got a couple more big super chats. And then we also wanted to hear your thoughts on what Caleb Williams did tonight. We'll start with whichever one you want to go. How about we go to our guy Mark, because he probably wants to go to bed. Mark Gauthier, the absolute GOAT, who's in the United Kingdom right now, where it's like basically time to wake up and go to work. $50 super chat from Mark Gauthier. This offense looks so beautiful. Caleb throwing in structure, no delays. Love Tyson. Glad he's our quarterback, QB2, but would like to see him get a starting job in the NFL. Hate seeing the cart come out and hope it isn't season ending. Good morning, boys. It is morning in the UK. He's talking about Terrell Smith with that knee injury.
Yeah, for sure. That was tough. That's tough. And the secondary certainly is taking a hit. There were some injuries certainly that piled up tonight. I know Austin Booker, he had a sack and he gets hurt, later in the game. Dominique Robinson also came out. So I know in the pregame show we were talking a little bit about Trey Hendrickson, but you get some injuries to that pass rush, all of a sudden might change some things depending on the severity of those injuries. So you don't like to see any of that. But, yeah, Tyson Bagent, had a great day along with Caleb Williams. I know we have his stats as well, along with, we showed Caleb's earlier.
Well,
but
let's hold those for a little bit here because I want to get to Caleb Williams' reaction. We asked on Twitter in the middle of the game what people what their reaction was to Caleb Williams. And
what?
So we pulled at Dick Taser.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Richard Taser.
There we go, Richard Taser. Honestly, sadly, happily, that it was the best Bears drive I've seen in a decade. Of course, it's preseason, so it means nothing. But hey, at least it's some hope. Okay,
Yeah, but like Gauthier said, in structure, So if you're looking for a difference between, last year's, fireworks against the Bengals in the preseason that ultimately didn't mean much in the regular season. No, they did start out 4-2, but regardless, that all was kind of out of structure. Just Caleb making something happen. Tonight was, methodical, and I think adds a little more weight when you consider what the coaching staff's been trying to do here.
Edward F. French IV. What a name. Every play with 13 to 15 seconds on the play clock. Clean. Let Caleb prep, O-line prep, and look sharp. Good on Ben Johnson.
Absolutely.
It looked like a well-oiled offense. It did. It hopefully translates to week one. Matt Anderson. It was the performance we needed to see. No pre-snap issues. Got the ball out quick, accurate throws.
Yeah, I would say that's the other aspect too, is everybody's been worried about, Caleb's accuracy because of last year. A lot of throws were not on point, especially some of the deep ball accuracy. And tonight you saw, a quarterback that, and I know Ben Johnson talked about this a few days ago, that it all starts with his feet and making sure he gets his feet set and he's moving, towards the direction of where he's throwing. And tonight you saw that where he had good footwork, good foot discipline, and that helped with some of his throws. And then you also had, like with the Colston Loveland throw, that where he came over the middle, it wasn't perfect, but Colston's so big, he was able to come down with that easily. And Rome had the drop, and everybody's frustrated by that because we wanted to see them finish that drive for a second touchdown. But Hoge said it during, while we were sitting over there watching the game, he said that might be the first drop Rome's had in a month. So yeah, it came at a bad time.
It's not something I'm worried about at all.
Right.
But it did suck in that moment.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And it wasn't like a bad drop. It was just...
He's got to catch it.
Yeah, it's a play you want your first-round wide receiver to make.
It's just from what we've seen at camp that translated over to tonight, we have not seen... There's actually been more than a few drops by the first team. I think you've been charting this at camp.
I don't think up to 14 or something.
But I don't think Rome has been the person that's causing those drops. So tonight it was bad timing, but hey, man, he's going to want that one back when the regular season starts if they're not going to play next Friday.
All right, you mentioned Tyson Bagent's numbers. He was pretty good, too, when he came in. I thought it tailed off a little bit later, but, 13 to 22 is what he finishes with. He goes for 196, got the touchdown. The touchdown throw on the run, moving to his right, over the underneath defender to the back corner to Tyler Scott was
a dot.
It was a really impressive throw on the run, and he goes 2 for 5 on third down conversions. So, look, I've been saying this quite frequently throughout camp. As much as we wanted to see Caleb Williams kind of bring it up a notch, which he did this week. Like, I think that's the headline. I think it was a good week for Caleb Williams. But even before that point, I've been feeling really good about this quarterback room. It's a position the Bears have never been able to get right. And right now they have legitimate depth. Don't forget Case Keenum. He didn't play in this game because he's got some type of leg injury. So he wasn't out there at all. So Tyson got plenty of run. And then good for Austin Reed because he got some run there late in the game. Impressively completed a fumble to himself.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Ben's going to turn that into like the stumble bum for the Bears this year at some point.
Which also could have been a worst. Sean McDermott, I don't care if he did throw that forward. It's 31-0 in a 3-hour game. The game's already been 3 hours. It's 31-0.
Yeah, that was shady.
But even worse, you were wrong. It was a bad challenge. And I could see that before they even went to commercial break. So you better be right if you're challenging that. Oh, man.
It's a good thing that Carm is in the woods somewhere at Camp Nabagabons, because had that happened while he was here, the challenge at the end of the game, like we would have already had lost him once Tyson came out, but then
no, he would have never even known that challenge happened because
he
would have been asleep.
Yeah, that's true. He'd have been sleeping. So, yeah, but going back to Tyson Bagent, I mean, obviously on this program, if you follow this show, when the guy in the middle chair is normally stirring the pot around here, gets us all riled up for his love affair for Tyson Bagent. But tonight's a reason you see why. He is a very solid quarterback.
Yeah.
And we are lucky as Bears fans, and the Bears organization is lucky they found him as a UDFA, and he's able to come in here and look like the kind of veteran backup quarterback that he is. He eventually is going to get an opportunity somewhere in this league to be a starter at some point. And tonight you saw why, because of the athleticism, the precision passing. He's very good, man. He gets it out on time. He knows how to go through his correct progressions. He's got everything. You talk about clean operation. Tyson's always, and you heard Ryan Pohl say it at the end of the broadcast here tonight. Tyson's the hardest working guy on this team. He's got that underdog mentality because of where he came from, and you see that translate in such a positive manner on the football field. So to watch him go out there and do really what he's been doing all at camp. You want another training camp MVP. Tyson has been great at training camp this year. Yes, he's going up against second team, the majority of the time. But even there's times where he gets to face the first team defense at camp, and he plays well against them too. So they're in a good spot in terms of their quarterback room, and Tyson Bagent, just showed a lot from his arm and his legs here tonight.
Yeah, just seeing some quotes from the post-game pressers too. This is up on our CHGO Bears Twitter account, which I should have mentioned when we were showing your tweets earlier. Make sure you go follow that, because that's where we solicited those answers mid-game. But Caleb Williams, when asked about what he's learned about Ben Johnson as a play caller, joked, quote, "He's a lot more calmer on game day in the mic than he is in practice with me." Which makes sense for what we've seen. Yeah.
Well, if you watched, that quarterback documentary or quarterback series on Netflix, and how Ben Johnson worked with Jared Goff through some different things. At one point, Jared Goff throws like 5 interceptions against the Texans, and the way he was communicating with him throughout the game, there was no panic from Ben Johnson throughout that. And the Lions ended up coming back and winning that game despite the fact that Jared Goff threw 5 interceptions. And so I think that's probably what Caleb was experiencing tonight is Ben Johnson is just trying to move on to the next play. Let's keep hammering this home. Let's keep trying to get it into the end zone.
Caleb also said he said, quote, "To a month ago, I think I've grown a lot. Now the mindset is to keep growing." So it's progress, man. I know everybody wants this overnight. That's not how this works. It might look awesome week 1 and terrible week 2. Or it might look terrible week 1 after what we saw tonight. I mean, it's possible. But what you want is for when the season's over that that line is linear overall. It's going to look like this from week to week, but from the start of the year to the end of the year, you hope that it's linear. And I think like that even describes the last month, right?
100%.
Because I agree with what Caleb said there. I mean, there is growth, but on a day-to-day basis, it's been kind of all over the place. This week, though, I think has been the most consistent, where it's sort of hovered higher the entire time. So I think that's a very good sign. All right, let's get one more big money super in before we take another break. Johnsy's going to join us, I think, pretty shortly, probably about 5 minutes, so don't go anywhere. Jeremy Edwards, $50, says, originally from Evanston, living in St. Louis, first time super chatting. Very impressed with our Bears. The kickoff debacle had me saying same old Bears, but seeing the Bears drive 93 yards was a breath of fresh air. See you for the opener. Bear down.
Yeah. 93 yards. They didn't blink after the bad kickoff. They didn't blink after the holding penalty. They had a first down. Yep. And now instead of 1st and 10, it's 2nd and 15. And they're not even past the 50 at this point now. Most of the time, the Bears end up 3 and out because of that. And instead, they get a first down and keep moving and touchdown.
And by the way, I know, like, right when they signed Olamide Zaccheaus, I was, like, very positive on the show, but I was like, I like that signing. Like, this dude can play. I had no idea he was this good. Like, I liked him, and this is really impressive. I hope it translates to the regular season, too, because but we saw it in the practice on Friday, and then again in this game. He has got legitimate runaway speed. If Ben can get him in the right running lanes with the ball, like you saw in that touchdown, it's impressive the receiving weapons that they have right now for Caleb Williams to play with.
Colston Loveland, runaway speed, depending on the matchups. Luther Burden, separation, runaway speed ability. DJ Moore. I mean, Ben's got his weapons. He's got his weapons.
All right, we'll take a quick timeout. Don't go anywhere because we got Adam Jahns coming up next. We're also going to try to get you whatever audio we can. There was an issue with some of it, so it wasn't our issue. But we will get you what we can. Johnsy's joining us here in a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. But first.
Hey, listen, ladies and gentlemen, we are headed to Viva Las Vegas, week 4 of the regular season. Compliments of True Fan Travel as the Bears take on the Raiders September 25th. We'll be getting in on Friday, and this is an all-inclusive trip with True Fan Travel. 3-night stay. Like you said, Mandalay Bay already sold out, but we've added extra rooms in the Luxor, so you're going to be all taken care of. Everybody come on out. And the biggest thing here, tickets are included in the game with your trip with True Fan Travel, because if you look on the secondary markets, tickets are not easy to come by for affordable prices. This gets it all in one with the Premium Vegas Hotel, with the tickets to the game, and VIP parties. Lance Briggs is going to be there. We're all going to be there. We got events planned for the entire week. Tailgate right before the game to get all hyped up. Don't gamble on missing the ultimate fan experience. Book your spot now at truefantravel.com. Can't wait to see you there.
And a couple weeks ago, we had an off day, and my brother-in-law was in town and wanted to go to the Cubs game, and it was a Wednesday day game, and so we needed tickets kind of last minute, so we went to Game Time. We got 7 tickets in the bleachers, cheaper than what they were face value. And that's why you always want to go to Game Time, especially when it comes to killer last-minute deals. They always give you views from your seat, their lowest price guarantee. Game Time's always making tickets faster and easier to acquire. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer you get to first pitch.
Absolutely.
And it's not just baseball, it's football too. You could have done this earlier today for the Bears game even. If you just wanted to get in last minute, you could have done that. So think about it next time with Game Time. Fees are always included, which I enjoy. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Create an account, redeem that code CHGO, $20 off. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Okay, again, 38-0 Bears, Super Bowl bound, Chicago Bears. We're going to go out to Soldier Field right now. I think we got Adam Jahns ready to go. He looks ready.
Let's go.
He looks good. Johnsy joining us here on the CH from Soldier Field. Johnsy, what'd you think about QB1?
What's going on, fellas? I thought QB1, Caleb Williams, he looked good. He played with confidence. He got the ball out quick. He played on time. He spread the ball around to different receivers. He made different types of throws, different layered throws all over the field. So, all in all, a good day for QB1.
Yeah, I mean, something we haven't gotten to yet here in this, and we can get back to Caleb if you want, but I thought the biggest story going into tonight, and we talked about it on the pregame show of like what matters most, was this left tackle competition. And now, the game's over and it feels like nobody's really talking about Braxton Jones or Theo Benedict, I should say. Now, that obviously must be a good sign that they obviously we all have to go back and look at the tape, but how do you think they fared tonight?
Well, Ben Johnson called tonight crucial when it comes to that left tackle competition. And to your point, Greg, like if we're not talking about any mistakes, it's because that's what we see first, right? They're mishaps, they're blunders, the times they get beat. And in this case, it would have been against backup pass rushers. Joey Bosa wasn't going against Braxton Jones tonight. So we're not discussing any of that. So maybe tonight was a step forward for Braxton Jones. Maybe they'll see more consistency. That's the key word that Ben Johnson used afterwards in terms of describing what he wants to see from Braxton Jones, because I think we all know he's trying to return to form. He's trying to regain his strength. We know that left foot, that left ankle has been a problem for him. It's been a process to get back to what he used to be or what he can be. But if he's consistent, I think he's your left tackle right now. If the film is good, if they see what they want from Braxton Jones physically and the numbers start to bear out that when they do all the testing behind the scenes, like I think this is becoming Braxton Jones's job. And really, I'm not surprised by that.
Johns, you were in Ben Johnson's presser?
I was there, front and center.
Yeah, apparently the audio was a little off. So can you just kind of summarize the headlines, what we need to know, some of the big things that he said?
So a couple, let's start with some nuggets. So Al Harris, the defensive backs coach, called the defense in the second half. Declan Doyle, the young offensive coordinator, called the offense in the second half. So I think he'd like to do that more, but there's only 3 preseason games to experiment with such things. But that seems to be part of the Ben Johnson philosophy. This game specifically was important in terms of getting through the routine of a primetime game. And he mentioned, of course, the opener against the Minnesota Vikings. So going through the routine with Caleb Williams, everybody at the hotel the night before, going through all that was a vital part of yesterday and today. And then just to sum up what he thought about Caleb Williams, he thought this past week, the stack of practices, which includes the joint practice against the Bills, and then obviously today against the Bills, was probably Caleb Williams' best stretch. It's when he started to stack good things for him instead of having 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That's another quote from Ben Johnson. He's had that type of training camp, except for this past week, where he thinks he stacked probably his best stretch of practices.
Oh, no.
Well, at least he finished his thought.
That
when
was
he
like
comes back.
perfect
It's unusual timing how quickly.
Yeah. It's like it's 11:10 at night, so he gave that thought and he was like, and I'm out. And now he's heading home. Smart of him.
Wow.
So
right.
yeah, when
Well.
Johnsy comes back, we'll get to some more stuff. But yeah, I think going back to the physicality of tonight for me, I think was one of the more appealing things of everything we saw. So I'm excited to ask Johnsy about that as well. See, he dials back in.
Yeah, no, I think so. Well, now's your chance. He's back.
Guys, I should know better. I know an hour after the game, they reboot the internet here. They kick everybody off in the press box. I should have known better. I should have logged off and logged back in before. Yes. You've covered games here. Yes. An hour and a half after the game, which I think we're hitting right now. They always reboot the internet and everybody gets kicked off and you have to log back in.
You got to
Actually,
pay.
never knew that.
An hour and a half afterwards, you got to pay for Wi-Fi. Just to
You used to. When I first started covering this team, Greg, you used to pay for Boingo hotspot in the press box. You would bring your own Wi-Fi and plug it in your computer.
Yeah, the only
Those days are long
places
gone.
that knew had Boingo was O'Hare and Soldier Field.
Well, whatever pays the bills to get that new stadium built, Johnsy,
True.
because we had Kevin Warren on the broadcast tonight campaigning to get that job done. Well, the Bills have a nice stadium they're getting built. So
Yeah. And Hoge and Jahns, we got a running bit. If somehow Kevin Warren gets the Bears stadium plans on the Bills version of Hard Knocks, I'd be very impressed with.
This wasn't far off. It's like early second quarter. There's a left tackle competition going on, and we got visuals of Arlington Heights popping up in the middle of a national broadcast. I'm like, what are we doing here?
Well done. I got to give him credit.
Yeah.
Where did we leave off? What was I talking about?
nuggets from Ben Johnson's presser.
Yeah, you finished your thought, and then
away you went.
then you just disappeared.
I was gone. All right, so you heard me talk about this being the best stack of practices from Caleb Williams over the past week. Okay.
Yep. So, yeah, I mean, that, and you guys highlighted that before we even started these three practices, Wednesday, so Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, stack the practices. Now you had the preseason game. So you only have a couple practices here next week before, a preseason game next Friday. Do you anticipate that this is the last time we see the starters before the regular season, or do you think we see another showing of these guys here next Friday?
Well, another nugget, I guess, from Ben Johnson's press conference is that Wednesday is going to be a fully padded practice, and I imagine he's going to want that to be fully physical as well. I'm not sure how many live periods that there will be, but he said Wednesday's practice will be live at Hallis Hall. That said, you can't duplicate these types of game reps when you're installing an offense for a young quarterback. So I think going through the routine on the road, having him experience a hostile environment. Yes, it's the preseason, and maybe the Chiefs starters won't play that long, but you can't replicate those types of reps for Caleb Williams. So I tend to think he's going to play again. I think it's a matter of how long, like how many series does he get against the Chiefs Friday night?
What else should we know from? I mean, anything else? There were a bunch of injuries. Any other newsworthy items come out of the postgame?
Yeah, I saw Terrell Smith on a cart with a brace on his left knee. So that didn't look good. He was leaving the stadium that way. So Ben Johnson called it the most serious of the bunch. Austin Booker, didn't see him after the game. I want to say I saw Dominique Robinson with a sleeve on his right leg. So I guess there's some optimism there. And the injuries to Kyle Monangai and Case Keenum, they're not considered serious. So a lot of injuries did happen for the Bears. A lot of key reserves got banged up. You don't like to see it, especially Terrell Smith, a young player who I think could be a starter in this league. An ugly injury, something like that. You don't like to see a player carted off, then carted off later, hours after the game as well. So, yeah, a lot of injuries happen here at Soldier Field. Not a good thing for them whatsoever.
So, obviously, you mentioned among those injuries, Austin Booker, who's had a good showing the last couple preseason games here, and then Dominique Robinson also in a leg sleeve after the game, as you just said. So, Trey Hendrickson's name's being thrown about. We were talking about it on the pregame show. Is this something that you think the Bears should inquire about in any way?
Oh, you definitely inquire about it, Braggs. But how many times do you inquire about it? Like, how long is that conversation? Does it start and end with the demands? Do you wait for those demands from Cincinnati to lower a bit. Pressure will build in that town the longer this gets. Maybe it takes to the final week of the offseason or of training camp for it to reach that point where they're finally panicking and they have to move him. But, yeah, if you're the Bears, you call on it. If you're the Lions, you call on it. If you're any team in need of some pass rush help, you call on Trey Hendrickson.
This is very specific. I'm guessing it did not get asked, but did Ben get asked about the decision, the fourth down decision before halftime?
The timeout?
Well, just how they went for it on fourth down, and they ended up giving the Bills a free look at a field goal. I'm assuming he wanted like something very specific called there or run there. But if he did that in a game and the opponent then kicked a field goal, like if that was a regular season game and they made that field goal, then he would have gotten crushed for that. So I was just curious if he addressed it because I hope he wouldn't do that in a regular season game.
The only situational stuff that came up was him using a timeout on third down. So did that precede that play? I have to go back and look at the play-by-play. But some situational questions were asked.
Yeah, because Greg hasn't liked this the last couple weeks, and I've seen him actually do this in the 2-minute drills at practice too. He's got a tendency to call the last time out with somewhere around 30 seconds left, not leaving you one that you might have to bang right before trying to set up a field goal. Now, in this case, they ended up going backwards. I think there might have been a holding penalty or something or a sack. Yeah, they end up backwards.
There was a penalty.
Yeah. So
I don't like using these timeouts. They save your final timeout. They should have, when they got the first down, there's like 48 seconds left on the clock, and he calls his final timeout. Get to the line of scrimmage and clock it, or get to the line of scrimmage and call a play. But this is 2 weeks in a row now where he's using it. Okay, use your timeouts. I know last coaching staff didn't even use them, but I like to save that final timeout for break glass in case of emergency. So we'll see how the regular
last
season
guy
goes.
saved 3 for emergency and then still didn't use any of them.
I think one of the other interesting things, Tyson Bagent was talking about how quick the play calls were coming in, especially like in those fourth down situations, about how there was like no hesitation on Ben Johnson's part, where there wasn't like, what should we do? And everybody's talking about what they should do. Ben Johnson, being the head coach, having the headset, having the play sheet in front of him, was already instantaneously calling in his play. So to me, that's an encouraging sign. There's no delay of games. There's no need for a timeout. There was just instantaneous decision making from your head football coach, who also happens to be your play caller.
Absolutely.
How impressed were you about Luther Burden's night tonight? They were really highlighting him on the broadcast for his ability to put his head down and lay some nice blocks down.
That's what I was going to mention. That those 2 short touchdown runs, the first 2, he did the same thing. He cracked and he was physical. And we've heard Ben Johnson how many times? No block, no rock, right? So this is him living out that mantra. That's him being physical at the point of contact and really making a difference and an all-important place on the field, on the goal line for his running back to score. So for a young player to do that, to show the willingness to have that effort and that physicality in those moments, I think those are promising, encouraging signs for a receiver that many still seem to question about a lot of things.
All right, Johnsy, we'll let you get home. Got an early Hoge and Jahns in the morning. Any final thoughts?
I got a column coming out on Caleb Williams. I really think tonight was I look at it this way. Tonight, yes, I know like the Bills, they didn't play their starters. I know that it's just the preseason, but it felt like a good win. Yes, they scored a lot of points, but it felt like a win for Ben Johnson. It really did in a lot of ways. His starting quarterback took the field and played well, didn't get hurt. His backup quarterback came in and looked like a starter. Rookies got the catches. Like an offensive line battle, left tackle may have been answered a little bit. So tonight, more than anything, looked like and felt like a win for Ben Johnson in many facets.
They're bringing double safety blitzes late in the game just to get a shot.
I love it.
So apparently that's Al Harris doing that, though, and not Dennis Allen.
Yes, but I love it even more. That's
He's like, screw it, I'm in charge. Now I'm blitzing all my safeties.
that's the film he needs.
That's awesome. All right, Johnsy, talk to you early in the morning.
See you, boys.
All right, we'll have a new Hoge and Jahns coming out tomorrow with our reaction on the game, and then right back here on CHGO Bears at noon as well.
Guy hasn't golfed all year.
Yeah.
I golf every other day of my life. Hasn't golfed all year. He goes out there and is hitting them straight yesterday. It was impressive.
Well, yeah. Okay.
What do you mean, well?
I mean, the last 6 holes.
He was dialed in. You know how frustrating that is? I'm a professional golfer, and this guy
No, you're not.
walks up and just – I mean, and shout out to
Walks
Sam.
up and hits the first tee shot on the next hole, which we found 6 holes later. Remember that?
Hey,
Our
shout
guy
out.
Sam was like, is this that vice you hit on the first hole? Yep, that's it.
Yep. Yeah, shout out to Sam. It was a great time. We were golfing out at Black Sheep in Sugar Grove. It was awesome.
That
And
was
it
a really cool
A lot of
place.
fun. A lot of fun. So shout out to Sam. He's a good dude.
Yeah, one of our awesome listeners who came to London last year, and he's coming to Vegas, True Fan Travel,
Yep.
and see what that turned into. Now he gets to take us golfing.
That's right. What an honor. What a pleasure for us.
It was an honor yes, it was. All right, let's get to some Super Chats before we get out of here, too, and then we'll sum up any final thoughts on this preseason victory.
Timeout. Before we get to Super Chats, we never talk about defense on this show. Andrew Billings is the funniest dude on the planet. Andrew Billings is just a force of nature that cannot be denied. This big man Billings is taking on 2-3 guys, just clearing the road for Austin Booker, just driving his blocker back for a sack at one point. This guy's been in the league how long? He's a veteran on this team, making plays. He is just an unstoppable force of nature. Shout out to Andrew Billings, who was playing long into the first half, just making plays. And so there's my one contribution to some kind of defensive thought of the night.
Well, in fairness, the defense only played one series.
Right. But, they did pitch a shutout here tonight.
But that was and I hope Austin Booker's okay because he was looking good again and he's gotten stronger. I know it keeps coming against backup tackles, but he powered through with a strong arm against the left tackle tonight too after tossing that dude last week. So I hope he's all right. It seemed like to me he got hit on the opening kickoff of the second half. Mm-hmm. Then he didn't come back in another play until the next kickoff, and then it was after that he went to the blue tent. So don't like hearing knee injury, but hopefully it's minor and something he was trying to battle through. All right, your Super Chats.
Let's bring him in here.
Donald Gooch.
Dr. Gooch.
$25. Look, it is just a preseason game, and we all know those are meaning F that. Let's effing go. We are going 17-0 Super Bowl bound, baby.
Exactly.
Not gonna lie, had me in the first half. All right, Craig Leach again. He's all over tonight, pre and post game. Appreciate it, Craig. Hit that like. He spent $20 to tell you guys to hit that like button, so you have to hit the like.
Come on, guys. Over 4,000 people still watching here as we're approaching midnight. Out here on the post-game show. We appreciate you guys. We're going to be doing this all season long, so let's keep building the community. If you hit the like button, it only helps the algorithm send to people that haven't found this place yet, and it helps us. 150 away from 1,000 likes. Let's get this done right now before the show ends.
If we get to 1,000 likes, we promise Carm won't come back until Wednesday at the earliest.
That's a deal.
But only if you get to 1,000. Yeah, speaking of that, Sell the Team Ricketts, $50 super chat, says, a storyline I don't think is getting enough coverage. Carm is gone. By the way, we're going to be at 1,000 likes in like 10 seconds after me saying that. Everyone's like, please. Sell the Team Ricketts says, Carm is gone and the Bears look great. Correlation or causation? Something to keep an eye on. Full send the meatballs. Super Bears, Super Bowl, move over Cubs. It's the Bears' turn to disappoint me. That's true.
Yep.
And just like that, we're over 1,000.
Wow.
That was.
Thank you, chat. Appreciate you guys.
All right, you don't have to hear from Carm until Wednesday.
2,000 likes before the show ends, and Carm won't come back for 3 Wednesdays.
All right. We need him for week 1.
Do we?
Maybe. Peanut Punch. Is that what we're doing next? Peanut Punch, $10 or $5. Sorry. Which fountain are we belly flopping into in Vegas, Braggs? Let's go.
We're definitely all of them. All of them. I mean, is there a fountain in Mandalay Bay? Am I allowed to get in the fountain?
Pool.
There's a pool. We should probably, if we're going to jump into a fountain in Vegas, it probably should be at a hotel that we're not staying at.
Right.
So we don't get thrown out of it.
Well, our friends at Circle will let you belly flop into the Circus swim pool.
Okay. And we will do that.
And we'll bet on it at the same time and how much it hurts. True North, $2. Maybe Carm is the curse.
It's not a maybe. It's not a maybe, True North. Steven, did you have any Carm notes? I know you were going to take in.
Oh, you were thinking about doing fake Carm notes.
You were going to fill in for Carm notes here today?
You want me to get a shot at here?
Yeah, give it a roll. I know I'm putting you on the spot.
No, I could throw something together here. You want to talk about the backup quarterback, huh? You just going to talk about Caleb? No love for the backup. And those are your Carm notes today.
Very good. Short and sweet. Very nice.
Fake Carm notes. James, $2.
I mean, seriously, though. What was that, Carm? Your boy running out of bounds before he gets the first down?
Yeah, what was that?
Guy doesn't
Maybe
even
if
know
you
where
were
the
distracting him from his CrossFit in West Virginia, he would have had that first round.
Yeah.
That's your fault, Carm. All right, James, $2. One observation. Most passes were from the shotgun. That's a pretty good observation, James. That's actually a great observation. Nick sells Atlanta. ATL. $10. I know it was preseason, but I can't remember the last time on one drive I saw multiple catches on offense with yards after the catch. Coach finally calling slants and not wide receiver screens and guys open downfield. Yeah, it was a thing of beauty, wasn't it, Nick? Andy, $2. Johnson effect is yak. Yeah, a lot of yak guys on this team, which we were talking about earlier in the show. Christopher Thomas, $5. Great day. I'm 40 years old. Drove the ball 358 yards uphill. Came home. Bears game with in-stride throws and competent play calling. Wheeler
sounds like a great day.
Is that your burner account, Craig? Sounds like something you'd say.
Longest drive for Christopher Thomas if he's coming out to Cog Hill on Friday.
Did you see Rory drove the green with a 3-wood today? That was cool. My guy Ludwig costing me a lot of money by going +3 on the last 2 holes. Not cool. Anyway, EA
chat
is in the game. $2. Is Rome an upcoming heartbreaking okay, get out of here.
Why did you...
This guys has been unbelievable.
Is this Sangray Kim's burner account?
Yeah. Honestly,
how was that?
For a post-game show, that shouldn't even been read. Appreciate your supers, though. Our post-game policy, all supers get on the screen. They don't all get read. How many more do we have? Okay, we can get through these, though, tonight. With Dre Day, $2. The Bears finally have a real coach on offense. That's right. Giuseppe Mandel, $10. Give me a call when you guys get to Vegas. It was nice to see a preview of what is to come. Already an improvement in play calling. Yeah, Bears will be going 4-0 in Vegas.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Giuseppe DM'd me months ago about golfing out in Vegas. I'm going to have to hit him up.
Well, that's what he said. Give me a call when you get there. I'm assuming you have his number.
Yeah.
Nico, $20. This is my first super chat. I'm trying to figure out how to become a diehard. I've been watching for a couple of years, but it's family time. Thank you guys for all the content. Love y'all.
Yeah, well, it's football season, so kiss your families goodbye.
Well, you scan that QR code and you become a diehard. You go to allchgo.com/diehard. We appreciate you, Nico. Appreciate the super. Bear Down Omaha, $2. It's not all on Mitch.
That's a shout out to my ranting and ravings from back in the day.
Yeah.
With Bears 100 proof. I used to.
Based on what I saw tonight, I don't know if Mitch is going to be the backup quarterback in Buffalo.
Not all on Mitch. That's what I used to say. And it was true. Everybody blamed everything on Mitch and nothing on Matt Nagy. The chickens came home to roost on all that.
So I made a point on the pregame. I'm going to end the show with this. And I'm interested to see if this really happens. Because it was kind of like, I acknowledged at the time when we talked about what's at stake tonight. Who has the most at stake?
Did you say steak?
Steak. Sounds really good right now. I said it's kind of silly, but it's a nationally televised game. And Caleb surely seems to be getting hated on by the national pundits that are out there basically just reacting to reports coming out of camp and not actually seeing Caleb with their own eyes. So
what do you got to say now, coward?
So now
Chris Canty.
Well, Coward's already on Twitter tonight raving about Caleb. So he looked good tonight. I'm curious to see what the conversation is tomorrow.
Well, we know Adam Rank will have our back nationally. And he'll be on CHGO Bears After Dark tomorrow night.
Will he? Okay.
Yeah.
Good. 3 shows, Bears shows, here tomorrow on CHGO. That's why you hit subscribe. That's why you hit the notifications. It'll all start Hoge and Jahns in the morning. Don't know exactly the time that'll come out, but hopefully we can get that out for CHGO Bears. We'll see. That might be a little tight. Regardless, we got Hoge and Jahns, CHGO Bears at noon, Bears After Dark in the evening as well, and no Carm until Wednesday. So appreciate everybody watching, listening. Please hit subscribe. Please hit that like button. Become a diehard. Come to Vegas with us. We got so many cool things going on.
Tailgates starting in 21 days from tomorrow. Go to allchgo.com/events. Every single home game, we have tailgates at the corner of Wabash and Cermak. Come on out. Hang out with us. I'm telling you right now, week 1, whether you're going to the game or not, you will want to be at our tailgates. All you can eat barbecue, all you can drink. We always got everything on hand for you. It is a great time. Thousands of Bears fans out there just going crazy. If you want to have the best time before the game for Monday Night Football Week 1, come out to our tailgate. Come for all the home games.
Thank you for being here. Bears win 38-0. It'll be the same score Week 1 against the Vikings, I promise. We'll talk to y'all tomorrow. We got plenty of shows coming your way, and you're going to be here. That's right. We'll talk to you tomorrow. See you.
Bear down.
We all silly like the mayor.